We didn't do the countdown. We're live. Hey,
we're here though. It's all
We
good.
are here. It's a casual Wednesday. I am Mensa. I'm joined by my guys XJ and Sean with the W, and we are wearing the New York Knicks playoff T-shirts. So Sean has on the New York We Here. That's the 21. We got the New York 2023 playoffs. We back on XJ, and I have the brand spanking new.
The Why Not Now 2024.
Let me move the mic so you guys can get a look at this beauty. Yeah, look at that.
Cop one now.
So please go get your merch. Please go get your merch. Go get your merch. Go get your merch. But we are not here to talk about merchandise as much as we would love for you to support. So please, if you like it, go grab it. We are here to talk about the New York Knicks, your New York Knicks, and maybe if you're a Sixers fan watching right now, not your New York Knicks, your loser 76ers being down 2-0 to the winner New York Knicks. There is so much for us to discuss. There's so many questions for us to get to. So guys, if you have questions, please type in the YouTube chat. We will keep our eyes on those. Like let's discuss, let's get into this live podcast forum. But I'm just gonna throw it to Sean really quickly. Sean, you and actually it's very interesting because Sean and XJ, both of you guys spent some time in Philadelphia, the city who is currently like GMAC loves to say, you can't spell Philly without back-to-back L's. The team that is currently losing to your New York Knicks. So Sean, if you were in the city of Philadelphia right now, how would you be feeling as a New York Knicks fan?
I would be feeling the same way that I felt when we weren't any good and I lived there, because I'd wear my Knicks gear all the time to the barber, to take my son to school, to things, anywhere. So right now, if I lived in Philly right now, game 2, the day after game 2, I would have like, which jersey am I gonna piss them off of today? And have my jersey, I'd have my KFS hat, I'd have, if I could find like warm-up pants, I'd be rocking that, and I'd just be walking. Or actually, I have these Mitchell and Ness shorts that have like the Knicks logo blazing on the front. That's what I'd be wearing. It's just big obnoxious logo on your short. That's what I'd be doing. People say things to me, I'd probably call some names, and I would just say, "Go Knicks," and just keep it moving. But that's how I would be. I would be, what's the word I'm thinking? What's the phrase I'm thinking of here? I'll be casually obnoxious. Yes.
Casually obnoxious. I love that for this Casual Wednesday segment. So I would be remiss to not ask XJ this one casual question that we always ask. My brother XJ, how are the vibes?
I would say, so I like Sean's casually obnoxious. I would say aggressively obnoxious, because that's how I would be if I was back living in Philly. I lived in Philly for a much shorter period of time than Sean, about like 9 months. Not my vibe, gonna be honest with you. I didn't love it. I know Sean might feel differently about it. Wasn't my favorite city that I lived in. I liked it a lot better when I would visit on weekends, take the little Amtrak down there and just hang out with some friends on the weekends. It was cool then when I lived there. Wasn't so much into it. So for that reason, for me being in a city that I didn't really want to be in, I would be aggressively obnoxious. I would be wearing Knicks shit all the time. I would be talking trash to everybody I walked by. I would make sure nobody knew where I lived, and cover my tracks as I went home. Some aggressive people in Philly, but I'd be aggressively obnoxious, and that is how I'm feeling, aggressively obnoxious. At the same time, I'm a little nervous. I was feeling very nervous before game 1. I was super happy to pull that one out. Unbelievably happy to pull game 2 out, obviously. But now game 3 is huge. If the Knicks win game 3, the series is a wrap. We could just go home. We could bring out the brooms. We could do whatever we want to do. We could start looking forward to seeing what that Brunson Halliburton matchup is going to look like in the second round. We can start thinking about all that kind of stuff. Just got to take care of business in game 3. We're going to get Philly's best shot because they can't go down 0-3. So, but while being obnoxious and aggressively obnoxious, at the same time, a little nervous, a little cautious about game 3 because they can just make it a series just by winning that one game.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. We're up 2-0, but I think we won both games. We won both games by a combined 9 points, I think, 9 or 10 points. We won the first game by 7, and I think we won this last one by 3, correct? Yeah, so we won both games by a combined 10 points. It's been a little nerve-wracking, to be honest. I threw my phone at like 53 seconds left in the game when I forgot who missed a shot or Maxey hit a shot, and I was like, damn it, it's looking like it's over. And then the magic happened of game 2, and there's so much we can say about the magic of game 2, but we have questions that we can get into that I'm sure everybody will get our answers. But really quickly, before we get to the question, Sean, I do have a question for you. Referee talk. Where are you at with this controversy with the last 2-minute report and how Knicks fans, well, not Knicks fans, Sixers fans and the national media and everybody is rallying around the Philadelphia 76ers because they was robbed, according to everybody. Just wanted to get your perspective on it really quickly, then we can get to these questions.
Cry me a river. Get a rebound. You know what? I have the most respect for the person I respect the most is Tyrese Maxey, because I asked him about it. He said, "Listen, I can't turn the ball over. We gotta get a rebound. That's it." Meanwhile, Joel is, although I'll give Joel some credit, like getting questioned in the locker room right after the game, not having any time to like blow some steam, relax, calm down. They probably got raw emotion out of him, but yeah, just I don't care. I don't care. I've watched. It's funny. We lost a game to the Mavericks. We blew a 9-point lead in 35 seconds, and there were multiple missed calls. You know what? Grab a rebound.
I agree. XJ, really quickly, how do you feel about it? These controversial calls.
I mean, I don't care about it at all. I honestly, my whole thing is, and I would feel this way, I'd be totally consistent. If it was on the Knicks end, I would feel the same way. And it really is what Tibbs said in his quote. He said he doesn't care about the 2-minute report. He cares about the 46-minute report. That's exactly how I feel. That's like a thing I talk about all the time. We always talk about these late game situations. Oh, this thing happened. This guy got fouled. This guy didn't make a shot. He missed a layup. It's like, cool. That is part of the context of a 48-minute game that came down to like 1 or 2 points. There's so many things that happened throughout the game. I could go back and watch the entire game and talk about, oh, here's this. Embiid didn't get fouled here. There's 2 free throws. That's 2 points, right? Oh, this is a turnover. They got this one wrong. That's a possession right there. Like, there's so many situations that happen back and forth throughout the course of a game. To just talk about incessantly about like the last second thing that happened with no time left on the clock, it's just, I just don't care about it, honestly. I think I'm actually probably extreme in this way, but whether this happened to the Knicks or happened for the Knicks, it's just not something I would focus on very much. So to me, this is just nothing, and I don't really care about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in line with you guys. I have a personal life mantra, which is control what you can control and learn to live with what you cannot. You cannot control the referees. They don't play for your team. They are a third party, biased or non-biased, whatever. You cannot control them. What you can control, and what was a theme for these first 2 games, is you can control how much you want to win. And having 4 guys in red jerseys looking up at the ball as Isaiah Hartenstein screams in and grabs it from you, passes it out to OG Anunoby and then who kicks it out to Dante DiVincenzo, spoke to the Knicks' preparedness, spoke to the Knicks just having the right mentality and how much the Knicks wanted these games more than the Philadelphia 76ers did. The Sixers played well enough to win both games. They did. But it came down to plays in both game 1 and game 2 where the New York Knicks just wanted it more. We watched Deuce McBride do the Zion to Kevin Knox to Tyrese Maxey. Superstar Tyrese Maxey, all-star Tyrese Maxey, most improved player Tyrese Maxey. Deuce McBride said, I want it more than you, right? Same thing. Mitchell Robinson in game 1 goes down to the floor getting a rebound out of Joel Embiid's hand. You want to talk about want? I think Joel Embiid had 0 rebounds in the second half of the basketball game or in the fourth quarter. Like, at a certain point, and I'm not getting too much on
rebounds.
I'm not getting too much on Joel Embiid because you watch this guy, you can see that he's not right. He's unhobbled. I mean, he's hobbled, but as a team, when you are playing a playoff basketball game and you played well enough to win it, and you're seeing the other team is coming back because of the referees or because of hot shooting or whatever, you need to rally, say, hey, look, listen, we cannot keep making these mistakes. Let's figure it out. Let's get the ball. Oh, we didn't get to call a timeout. Whatever. Nobody on the 76ers wanted it as much as Isaiah Hartenstein wanted. And when the Knicks got the foul call with Tyrese Maxey, or whether Nick Nurse didn't get a timeout, all that added up to the Philadelphia 76ers being up 2 points. They were still up 2 at the time. If they grabbed the rebound, game is over. They didn't get the rebound, and the rest is history. So as far as the complaints go, the Nile is a river in Egypt, and you guys can visit it this summer, or you can visit it as recent as soon as next week. But right now, Knicks up 2-0. Cry about it or go argue with your goldfish. So with that being said, let's jump into these questions. Sean, I think you have the questions ready for us.
Yes, because I'm not only a Casual Friday member, I'm also the emergency catcher of the Knicks Film School Podcast. So I'll be producing. And full disclosure, at some point, I'm going to go behind the scenes to be a producer. And by behind the scenes, I mean go eat this food that's right here because I am starving. But first, we will start with. It's not a question. It's from Dean Bushel. Bushy says, "What's up, guys? Great to see you all." And I will give him a shout out because it is 9:19 a.m. in Sydney, Australia. So he's on his way to work. And I'm just being lazy and assuming that he's in Sydney because he could be in Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, whoever. But I just want to give Bushy a shout out. All right, next question. Then I'm going to go hide. It's from the stentorious BKG, Ben Kim Gervey. Mentor, you can read it while I go hide.
All right, BKG, my guy, says, happy Wednesday, casuals. Question for you. Precious played at least 3 games for us against Philly this year and was a plus every game. Will he play meaningful minutes this series? I'll give this one an answer. So if you believe, correction, 4 games plus 43 net, and I live just outside Philly between Nova and Haverford. It sucked. Okay, good.
Thank you, BKG. It does suck, and I know that exact area, by the way. But go ahead.
So yeah, to answer your question, Mitchell Robinson is actually now on the injury report with, I think, left ankle injury management and is questionable for tomorrow night's game. If that questionable turns into doubtful and eventually out, then yes, Precious Achiuwa will be playing basketball for the New York Knicks in the playoffs against the Philadelphia 76ers tomorrow night. But if Mitchell Robinson can play, then I don't really think that we'll see much Precious Achiuwa. I think Precious Achiuwa is what he is. He's a good regular season 9th or 10th man that you can put in. And when I say good, I mean like defensively. Offensively, I'm not the biggest Precious guy, and I don't think XJ is either. We're not really Precious's biggest fans. Shout out to the Bronx, though. I don't think Tibbs trusts him in these big moments. Would I like to see him? Sure. Could he give you a good 5 to 7 minutes against Embiid just to throw another look at him, because Embiid kind of is having his way with us? But when you consider the factor that Embiid is not as healthy as he is in quarter 4, as he is in quarter 1, and as the game continues to go along, Embiid just looks worse and worse. You don't really need to throw multiple looks at him. Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson are good enough, 2 of the most impactful defensive bigs in the league. We're very lucky to have both of them. So I'm not quite sure we will see any Precious minutes unless Mitchell Robinson cannot go. How about you, XJ?
Yeah, so Mensa, I definitely generally agree with you on Precious. At the same time, I actually think Precious could be valuable in this series. And the reason I say that is because, as you mentioned about Embiid's health, what we've seen from Embiid is that a lot of his game is oriented around the perimeter. He's not like going inside and posting up and getting close to the basket. I mean, besides when he hurt his knee by doing a weird off the glass to himself dunk. We haven't seen him score a ton around the rim. Everything's like kind of on the perimeter. He's taking a lot of jump shots, getting fouled on the perimeter a lot. So I feel like that kind of neutralizes some of the advantages of having Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein on him. And on the other hand, if Precious guards him, what we could see, and we saw this a couple times, not a ton, but sometimes switching actually the pick and roll or even dribble handoffs with Tyrese Maxey. and I'm not saying obviously Precious can't stay with Tyrese Maxey, but I am saying that he can slow Maxey down a little bit more than some of these other guys. When Mitch has been kind of forcefully switched on to him, it's just been lunch. So I could imagine throwing that in as like a different look, occasionally, maybe in the fourth quarter at some points. Other than that, probably no reason to see Precious, but I do think that there could be some value there with some different things that he could do. What I really would love, and it's funny because the Knicks have four centers really, and none of them are really able to punish what the Sixers are doing, which is oftentimes putting a guy, whoever's guarding Josh Hart, on the center for a little while Embiid gets to shade over and then deter Brunson from getting all the way to the rim. So if the Knicks had a center who you could throw the ball to, and it's like, hey, he's got, Kyle Lowry on him, and that center could just work and eat inside, that'd be awesome. But the Knicks don't have a center like that, and Precious is not really going to do it any more than Mitchell Robinson is going to do it, and for that matter, Isaiah Hartenstein is going to do it. So he doesn't give a ton different to me, in my opinion. There could be a couple of advantages in terms of what he can do out on the perimeter, but that's pretty much it. And for that reason, he probably only play if Mitch is just not feeling 100%, I would think.
And I'll just quickly echo those sentiments. I don't think you're going to see Precious unless Mitch and or Hartenstein are out. And even then, he may get the Malachi Flynn Memorial for 3 minutes at the end of the half. And last thing I'll say is, Ben, I know exactly where that is, between Nova and Haverford. I actually lived in that area for a year and a half, and public transportation from there to Center City, Philadelphia stinks. But thank you very much, Ben. All right, next question. We will go. Actually, you can read this one. This is our first super chat of the night. It's from Christian Finnegan. Thank you for your loyal contribution. Actually, take it away.
Appreciate it, Christian. Thank you so much. Is there a plan for Julius to be on the bench at some point? It bums me out that he's not part of this right now. Or is he there and I just haven't seen him? Thanks. Appreciate you very much, Christian, for the contribution and the question. It's a great question. So I don't know personally of a plan for Julius to be on the bench at some point. It is a little bit of a bummer for him not to be involved. I can imagine there's some situation here where it's like he can't be out there, so having him on the bench, I'm not sure that he would like that situation where he has to be there and kind of just live and die right next to the team as he can do nothing about it. That probably would be pretty uncomfortable, and not that he would ever be a distraction, but it's like, these are the guys that we have. We don't have Julius. We're not going to have Julius, so we got to do with what we have. And I feel like that could be some of the reason why he's kind of not on the bench. Otherwise, I think he's healthy enough to be there. Like, I don't think he's like so injured that there's no way he can be out there. I mean, it's just his shoulder. He can walk around and sit and do everything that he needs to do. So I have to imagine it's a concerted decision to not have Julius on the bench, and it probably comes from both Julius and the organization. I don't know. What do you think, Mensa?
Yeah, so I was at game one. I did not see Julius Randle on the bench, and I was sitting maybe 5 rows behind the Knicks bench. So yeah, I didn't see him. It is weird that he's not there, I would say. I personally haven't been thinking about Julius because there's Knicks basketball to play right now, and we're in the playoffs. But now that it's brought up to me, it does lead me. Well, I've been feeling like watching this Knicks team play, the style of basketball they play, and watching like the camaraderie. I'm sorry, I can be a child sometimes. Yes, watching the camaraderie of the team, it does feel like, watching the games and being at the game, it does feel like the team is kind of straying away from the Julius era, because Julius, it was quick. It was Julius. It was RJ. Those were the guys as recently as 2 years ago, right? Those are the team. The team revolved around them, and then Jalen Brunson gets here, and then Josh Hart gets here, and then Hartenstein steps up a little bit, and then it's like it feels like the main characters are changing, and we're seeing it change without Julius. So it is something to watch. I don't think we will see him on the bench in the playoffs, and that is concerning because we need Julius, and I would like to see Julius return to the team at some point, just because, I mean, hey, he's a good basketball player. His fit, that's an entirely different question than one that's in front of us right now, but it is a bit of a bummer. It would be nice to see Julius out there, even giving guys pointers. You know, as a passer, he can probably help Isaiah Hartenstein by talking to him and seeing what he's seeing out there, right? It's having an extra set of eyes from an all-star would be nice. And while you can't quantify that kind of value, there is value to it. And it would be nice to have Julius out there. But I'll end this with saying, Julius, get well soon. This team needs you. I know we won't see you the rest of the season, but Knicks are a better team with Julius than they are without him. And it would be great to see you at some point. Thanks, Christian.
Yeah. Thank you, Christian. I'll just say really quickly, I was at game 2 and I didn't see him on the bench, and I was discussing that with Cedric Shine, and my theory was he's probably in a suite having a beverage or 3, and I don't blame him. So thank you, Christian. Quick comment from Ben King Gervey says, hit your foul shots, don't complain about not getting enough. Here. And then next comment is from 221_B_Baker. Can y'all please let Philly fans know that before the last 30 seconds, they blew 2 leads. They had a double-digit lead. Baker, I retweeted somebody who was going back and forth with Swinny Pooh on the timeline today, and about he knew, like, it's hilarious that Knicks fans don't know ball, whatever. And I just retweeted with a screenshot and said, it's hilarious that the 76ers lost this game. And it's a picture of the Knicks down 101-96 with Kyle Lowry at the line about to take another free throw with 47 seconds left. We were losing by 5 and we won by 3. That is impossible. Not by 1. We won by 3. That is impossible. All right, next question. We'll go back to Mensa. Rob Stack says, go right ahead, buddy.
All right, Rob Stack. Thank you for your question. It says, are you worried about Brunson after back-to-back clunkers? I can't recall him having 2 straight like this. The short answer to your question is no, I'm not worried about Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is very good at basketball. The long answer to your question is, yeah, there are some concerns with this matchup with Philadelphia because they have the length to bother him and the coach as well. Nick Nurse, with these 2 6'8", these 2 or 3 6'8", 6'9" wings that they have with Oubre, Batum, and Harris, the way that he is able to deploy them with the threat of Joel Embiid at the basket and Paul Reed too, I think he's okay. Their defensive game plan is pretty flawless. I'm not gonna lie, because they're able to take advantage of what the Knicks are trying to do, which is get Jalen Brunson going downhill, get him to attack drop coverage. Like, whatever he wants to do, they are there. And it's not just Jalen Brunson who they are harassing, but if you notice, OG Anunoby isn't getting that corner 3 the way he gets it. And if you look at his cleaning the glass, if you look at like his 3-point shooting by zone, he's really only knocked down in those 2 corners. Everywhere else above the break and behind and like the actual straight ahead 3, he's not that great. He's kind of like average or maybe even below average, depending on what numbers you're looking at. And Nick Nurse, I just want to take this time to just give him a ton of credit. I think he has coached his ass off. I think there's nothing more that you can ask from Nick Nurse. The players have to go out there and win the game, and he's put his team with his game plan in position to win 2 straight games at Madison Square Garden. So hats off to Nick Nurse and the coaching job that he's doing. And because of what he's able to do with deploying his wings and using the threat of Joel Embiid at the basket, that has caused Jalen Brunson all kinds of problems. But Jalen Brunson is the kind of guy who figures it out. He will figure it out. He will solve it. And I'm also not worried because we watched the Knicks. It's more of a concern on the road than it is at home. But we watched the Knicks win 2 playoff games without Jalen Brunson. I think Bill Simmons on his podcast, he asked a question and he was very wrong about it. And I think the guy who was with him corrected him. I'm sorry, Guy, for not remembering your name. But he asked the question that the Minnesota Timberwolves, they won a playoff game without their best players. Like, who else could do that besides the Timberwolves and the Boston Celtics? The New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson just played 2 of the worst playoff games of his life, and the Knicks are up 2-0. So the concern is with Jalen Brunson being able to solve this Nick Nurse defense. But if I have faith in anybody, it's Jalen.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Mensa. I definitely agree with you. I'm not concerned that he'll continue to perform the way that he has. I will say, I feel like Brunson, what he needs to do is like make an investment in his home gym or whatever, and have a feature where the walls close in on him, because that's essentially the conditions under which he's playing basketball right now. Basically, he has a big wing with long arms draped on his back, and then he has the giant Joel Embiid directly in front of him. And anybody's going to struggle in those circumstances. As I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, something, and you said it, Mensa, Nick Nurse is coaching his ass off. He's doing amazing. It's really cool what he's doing. Like if, any center that's playing on Embiid, what he'll do is have the wing or the guard who's guarding Josh Hart kind of come and not only tag that center, but essentially cover that center. So Joel Embiid can step up and show a body to Brunson. And then the wings are just like, we are going to completely stay attached to Brunson. Like, we're going to press him up. We're not worried about him blowing past us. Maybe he'll blow past us, but where's he going to go? He's going to go into Embiid's like chest. So there's no point. So Brunson's kind of like, okay, I got to get past the wing, but I can't get too far past it because then I'm just in Embiid's domain. So basically I have to kind of like use this explosive quick twitch ability to kind of get past, but not too far past. Like, that's tough, man. That's tough. Anybody would struggle in that situation. Really, any scorer, any elite ISO scorer would really struggle in that situation, unless somebody like Durant, who is not going to worry about a rear contest or a side contest. So I think that it's just the conditions under which Brunson is playing. He's going to have a hard time. I do think he'll be able to have some answers. A lot of people have talked about it, have him play off ball a little bit more, space the court differently. So, I haven't liked having Josh Hart kind of one pass away because they can just immediately directly help. But Josh Hart in the corner allows them to play this cat and mouse game with Embiid already, pre-rotated and already helping. So maybe, fluctuate back and forth between where you place Josh Hart to have different kinds of looks for Jalen Brunson to try to exploit. And honestly, I mean, I don't know if people are going to dislike this, but I would not play Josh Hart 48 minutes. Like, Josh Hart has played excellent. He doesn't have to be in it's not all or nothing, guys. It's not 0 minutes bench Josh Hart, or he plays the entirety of the game without a moment to rest. So, I could imagine Josh Hart playing 40 minutes, which is obviously a ridiculous number of minutes for any normal basketball player. But Josh Hart, that sounds like, wow, you're going to give him 8 minutes off? 8 minutes without Josh Hart on the court, maybe give Brunson a spacing lineup, allow Brunson to cook, see the ball go in the hoop a couple times, and then he's able to kind of figure things out when Hart is in the game, when things are a little bit more congested. So those are a couple solutions. I'm not worried that he's going to just continue to struggle the way that he has. I think he'll figure something out.
Yeah, and what I'll add is I think this is where Brunson not being the best lob threat, the thrower of lobs, kind of hurts us a bit, because if he could throw lobs, then it would make Embiid make a decision, because now Embiid knows he could like if Brunson gets past Batum and he gets into the paint, Embiid could challenge because he doesn't have to worry about throwing a lob to Mitch. So, but to your point, actually, I think there's something they can do differently. I don't like Josh Hart being one pass away. Getting him off ball, that's going to require someone else to do something. Devo's shot, game-winning shot aside, has he was solid last game. He wasn't a good game one, but I also think that he's just not hitting shots I've seen him hit all season. And so it's just like, all right, if you just hit these shots, if you just hit some of them, like Philly fans, like if Jalen Brunson does 60% of what he normally does, we run away by a mile. So keep that in mind. You're lucky to be that close. All right. Mensa, do you have anything you want to add?
No. Just wanted to. Well, I'll add this really quickly. When you think of players who play 48 minutes in a playoff game because of their like importance, you think Giannis or Durant or LeBron. For the Knicks, it's Josh Hart, which is hilarious. Nobody's saying that we hate Josh Hart, and I even tweeted out that Josh Hart slander is currently treasonous because of what he's been able to do for us. But also, like, you could play him 38. It's fine. It's totally fine. You could stagger his minutes. Don't kill the guy.
This is where, if Alec Burks could do anything, anything,
good point.
we wouldn't have to play him 40. I just watched him. I was like, I forgot he's on our team.
Yeah.
So, all right. God, Jesus, Alex. One day.
I literally forgot about Alec Burks. I actually I'm not saying I literally forgot about him.
Dude, if he could do anything, oh my goodness. All right, Rob, thanks for the question. A few comments here. Blood of the Panther says, I'm here for one reason and one reason only. If you know, you know. And Sage of the Knicks Path says, Mensa is not welcome to hashtag ball gang until he headbutts the wall.
I am not headbutting any wall. I will listen.
I don't know about this trend.
Look, if that's how I get into a hashtag ball gang, I will happily take hashtag bald book club or bald bird watchers or bald restaurateurs, whatever it is, guys, like bald happy hour participants. But yeah, I'm not headbutting anybody's wall. I'm sorry, guys.
All right. Blood of the Pants also says Nixon 4 from your lips to God's ears.
Yes, sir.
Super chat from Jessica Elsner, who we love and appreciate very much. She says, wishing you three the best. Loves to you guys. What adjustments do you think Brunson can make? Why are Sixers fans so whiny? I thought they threw batteries. Well, I mean, we kind of touched on the adjustments Brunson can make. Some more. Actually, one thing I will say is I would throw Joel Embiid and pick and roll until his leg fell off. And granted, that's easier said than done. But that's something I would not hunt it because you don't want to throw your offense out the window just to do that. But every other play, every third play, we have to I would throw him in pick and roll and until something gave. And Sixers fans, honestly, all NBA fans are whiny. Listen, we have whiners in our fan base. The Sixers, the Lakers. Oh Lord! Shout out to the video I saw on Twitter today. This young lady was talking about Lakers fans complaining about how the refs suck, and she was like, "Newsflash: the refs have always sucked. They just never sucked for you. So welcome to the club." So with that being said, XJ, what adjustments can Brunson make? And feel free to tee off on Sixer fans.
Yeah, first I want to say to Jessica's comment, I thought y'all threw batteries. That sounds like something I would say if I was playing pickup in Philly somewhere and I was just talking shit and just busting their ass. It's like, I thought y'all threw batteries. What happened? Y'all soft out here. What's going on? So I really like that. I really like that comment a lot. As far as what Brunson could do differently, so something I've noticed too is that Brunson, I know we're talking about Brunson needs to make the shots that he normally makes, and that's a big part of his missing shots he normally makes, but he's rushing a lot too. And I feel like I've noticed that really, it's become really clear to me, especially in transition. So we'll see him in kind of transition, semi-transition. He's doing a lot of pull-ups from three. Kind of like I call it the Stephon Marbury, because I just remember growing up watching Marbury come down the court and it's like he's gonna pull up a 28-footer for literally no reason. And Brunson has done that a few times. That's not really Brunson's game, to just come down the court and pull up. And it feels like he's like, yeah, I got a little bit of space. I gotta just take it. I gotta take this shot. So it almost feels like the good shots that he gets, he's like, it's a miracle. I got a good shot. I need to make this. I need to capitalize on it. So I feel like there's a little bit of a leakage, a spillover in terms of him rushing in these other circumstances. So I really liked what you were saying earlier, Sean, about throwing lobs, because there was one play where Embiid was kind of showing and Brunson got past the wing that was guarding him. It might have been Oubre or whoever it was. And Lowry was tagging Hartenstein, but actually it was Maxey, and Hartenstein just kind of bodied him up and got in front, and Brunson didn't throw a lob, but he threw a bounce pass to Hartenstein. Hartenstein got an easy dunk. And I was just like, why don't they do that more? Try to get it to the big who has the small guy trying to guard him and front him or tag him or whatever the case may be. Try to get it to that big a little bit more often, especially if it's Hartenstein, because as we all know, if it's Hartenstein, if he doesn't have a shot, he can get it to the other side of the court and get a good shot for one of the actual shooters that we have over there. So I just feel like that's an opportunity that I haven't seen Brunson and the Knicks capitalize on much. He's looking to score a lot, which he has to. But at the same time, I do think when they're doing some of these schemes, there are weaknesses in these schemes that they haven't yet fully tried to exploit. And I think with the time off and moving to Philly, thinking about some new things that they can try to explore, we may see them doing some more. We may see a big Hartenstein scoring game is what I could imagine kind of moving forward. So that's kind of the adjustment that Brunson can make, but also that the Knicks can make in terms of looking for the centers when they have smaller guys trying to cover them, trying to have Embiid shadow and protect the rim against Brunson.
Yeah, I just want to echo what you guys were saying about the ways that the Knicks can, make Brunson a little more comfortable. One point that I do want to hit at is with the pick and roll stuff. It's not necessarily anybody on the Knicks' current game. It's kind of where we miss an Emmanuel quickly or even an RJ Barrett, because a lot of times RJ and Mitch would run that pick and roll and he'd just lob it up and Mitch would just slam it, and Embiid would not be able to do anything with that right now. He could barely get off the ground. But you deal with the personnel that you have right now, and everybody wants to see him get off the ball and shoot it a little, get some catch and shoot opportunities. But maybe, I don't know, maybe you run some pick and rolls with Josh Hart, get him with a full head of steam. They have to collapse, and then he passes out to Jalen Brunson in the corner. There are things that you can do, but I think Philadelphia, they've done a really good job with their three-point defense, because DiVincenzo really hasn't gotten hot, and Anunoby hasn't gotten hot, Brunson hasn't gotten hot. So, I think for Brunson, it's just to keep playing basketball. That's really all it is, just keep playing, and at some point, you'll be the unstoppable force that you were 2 weeks ago, and they won't be able to do anything with you. So I just think the adjustment for Jalen Brunson is just to keep getting reps up, and at some point, the dam will break.
Agreed. Agreed. Thanks, Jess. Appreciate the comment and the generous contribution. One quick comment from Ben Kim Gerby says he did go back and rewatch the game. They blew a ton of opportunities, including a lot of foul shots. I remember Embiid missed a few foul shots, particularly when the entire Madison Square Garden was yelling F Embiid. They also got away with far more aggressive defense than we did. I specifically remember twice how they guarded inbounds passes by I'm gonna grab Jalen Brunson's arm so he can't run away. So those guys are whatever. They can stop complaining. Next question, and actually I'll throw this one to you to answer, and then we can go around the room.
PL, what is up? I hope Knicks in 4. Would you guys worry about a possible return of DeAnthony Melton? Yeah, PL, this is a good question. This is something that many of us have commented on. I know Mens has commented on. So I'm not necessarily worried about a return of DeAnthony Melton, but I will say that's because of his health. I don't think he's gonna come back. He's not gonna be healthy, and so I almost feel like he's probably not even gonna play. And even if it does, it's gonna be 2 to 5 minutes. There's not gonna be a big DeAnthony Melton game where so because of that, he's not really a factor in my thinking at all. But I will say that I do think if he was healthy, he would be a useful piece for them, because right now, again, we're seeing a very specific type of coverage against Brunson where there's a lot of shadowing, there's a ton of helping, there's a ton of treating Josh Hart like precious Achiuwa, and Josh Hart's made him pay for that, to be clear. But there's a ton of that kind of coverage where the wings, and shout out to Jeff, my Hot Hand Theory podcast co-host, he made a great point about the fact that Melton would probably be a better one-on-one defender against Brunson. Brunson's going to cook him. He's going to cook anybody one-on-one, really. But the reason the wings are so successful is because they have a ton of help behind them. So they can press up, they can play really close to him, they can stay attached and not really have to worry about getting blown by, because where's Brunson going to go? We talked about this already. Where's he going to go? He's going to go into Embiid's chest. There's nowhere to go. So he's playing in this phone book type of situation, this kind of walls closing in environment. And those wings are perfect for that situation because they can rear contest, they can side contest. You never really are free. They're always kind of lurking. Whereas a Melton, if you get past Melton, he's going to have a hard time blocking Brunson's shot from the side, from behind. But when you have Melton, you could kind of get away with guarding Brunson one-on-one a little bit more. So even those spacing lineups could be less effective than they would be if you were just trying to guard Brunson with a Tobias Harris or a Nick Batum. So, there's a give and take there, but I think just Melton's health makes it kind of irrelevant for me. I don't know what you guys think. I just don't anticipate him playing much of a factor at all.
Yeah. I watched Jalen Brunson give 40 to Alex Caruso. I'm not worried about DeAnthony Melton. Sorry, guys. In the context of what Nick Nurse will be able to do and deploy him, sure, I'm sure he will be effective. But everybody who's played defense under Nick Nurse in this series has been effective. So, but yeah, not even if DeAnthony Melton was healthy, I would almost I would be begging for Nick Nurse to stop what he's doing and say, "Oh, we got DeAnthony Melton, lock down DeAnthony, here we go," and then watch Jalen Brunson score 57 on him. I'm not worried about that guy at all. No.
That's actually a perfect segue to our next question. And even though XJ wrote the last one, I'm gonna let him read this one because it comes from some guy named Hot Hand Theory, whoever that is.
I have no idea what that is. Yeah, interesting. Nice logo though. From Hot Hand Theory, do you think Nick Nurse is going to switch up the defensive scheme against Hart? If not, and he doesn't continue to make shots, do the Knicks make an adjustment? So Mensa, you just talked about that. Do you want to take that one first?
Yeah. Nick Nurse has zero reason to switch up his defensive scheme because it's working really well. And if Josh Hart is going to continue to make 4 threes a game, then you shake his hand and you get on a flight to Cancun because there's nothing you can do about that. But at the same time, it's like you always play the numbers, right? Look, if Josh Hart is somehow Baron Davis, a guy who, just turns it on in the playoffs, then cool. Then, okay, you do have to adjust. But there just isn't enough data on Josh Hart in the playoffs as a shooter that makes you disregard the last 7 years of his career as a shooter. So I don't think Nick Nurse should change it. I think that what he's doing, you continue to if you are continuing to make the team's best player an all-NBA first teamer, if you continue to make him uncomfortable and the rest of the guys beat you, then you just live with that because that is what your defense is not going to take away everything. A defense can only take away some things. Even the most elite of defenses can only take away 1 or 2 things. If the one thing that you're taking away is Jalen Brunson, then you continue to do it. I'd say that if he does change up his defensive scheme, he's a fool because it's working and it twice put him in position to win basketball games that his team just blew, right? Nick Nurse can't make his team win it. That's just what if the New York Knicks were down 0-2 right now, it wouldn't be because they did anything differently than they did in games that they lost 2-0, right? In terms of the schematics is what I would say. So I don't think Nick Nurse should change it up. It says, and if not, and he doesn't continue to make shots, do the Knicks make and he doesn't continue to make shots? Oh, Hart, right?
I think Hart. Yeah.
If Hart does not continue to make shots, then I honestly, if Jalen Brunson doesn't have it going and Hart is not making shots, I don't know how we win this series. So I would hope the Knicks would make an adjustment if Josh Hart does not continue to hit shots in terms of playing Deuce more or playing DiVincenzo more and cutting down those Josh Hart minutes. But as long as he's hitting shots, Josh Hart's going to probably lead the team in minutes.
Yeah, I generally agree with all that. Like, I don't think Nick Nurse is going to switch up the scheme. I think it's been very effective. I think that they probably are anticipating some regression here from Josh Hart very soon. And so if I was Nick Nurse, I would be like, damn, if we were 1-1 in this series, I would think we were going to win the series, honestly, based on how effective the scheme has been. But 2-0 down, now you're in a a must-win situation. You probably got to just go with what you've been doing, and it's been effective. And you just hope Josh Hart has a 1 for 8 shooting performance, and you escape with Game 3. And I'm pretty sure that's probably what they're banking on. The question of whether the Knicks make an adjustment, if Josh Hart goes 1 for 8 and Brunson continues to struggle, I have to assume they're going to do something. Like I don't think they're going to just go down with that ship. I hope not, but yeah, I would imagine they'd make an adjustment, and Josh Hart would probably get his minutes scaled back to 46. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully, there's some reasonable compromise there where Brunson gets to, as we kind of alluded to earlier, Brunson gets to play a little bit at least without Josh Hart to get his shot going and see if that makes a difference. That's what I would anticipate.
Well said. You guys touched on everything. I don't have to add anything else. All right, next super chat is from Sri, Mensa, your turn. So you could read this one. I'm actually trying to alternate, but I also keep getting distracted because I'm watching the Heat hang around with the Celtics, and it's annoying me. But at the same time, I know they're going home in a week, but we'll just try to rotate it. So Mensa, go ahead. You're up.
All right, Sri, thank you so much for the contribution. I'm a little worried that the refs and NBA will overcompensate on calls for the 76ers so they don't appear biased. Do you guys worry about that too? We will know if they send in the finisher, Scott Foster. We will know based on the crew. But I try not to dig too deep into conspiracy theories, but we do know that during games that the refs will owe you one and give it back to you. So there's a chance that the referees do that. And then going into game 3, it might feel like that as Knicks fans, but you really don't quite know. Is there something I'm worried about? No, I'm worried about, will Jalen Brunson get it going? Will Josh Hart continue to make shots? Will Mitchell Robinson play? Will Isaiah Hartenstein build on his really good second game? Will OG Anunoby finally be allowed to shoot the ball from the corner? Will Dante, like, there's so many other things that I'm worried about, but I don't, and I don't say that to belittle your worry, because I think it's very valid, especially like from the emotional standpoint of a fan, but it's not something that I am worried about, because while referees do get in the way, referees don't decide games very often. And I do think that the players will decide the game, and whichever way the chips fall, if the Knicks are up 3-0 or if they are down 2-1 going into game 4, I think it will be because of the way the teams played and not because of a referee's decision.
Sean, what do you
I
think?
would say, if I could, I would bet a sizable amount of money that Scott Foster has already booked his flight to Philadelphia. But with that being said, I mean, home teams are generally will get better calls. I think the purpose of the Sixers filing that grievance was more to call attention to certain things, keep their eyes on certain things. Games 1 and 2, especially game 2, is very physical. I don't think you're gonna see the Sixers grabbing people on the inbounds, grabbing people, preventing them to get the ball on the inbounds. I don't think you'll be able to see Kyle Lowry smack Dante DiVincenzo in the head after he tips the ball. I don't think you'll be able to see Tyrese Maxey push off. I don't think you'll like. I think it might be. I think they may call it a little differently, but am I worried about it? No. But do I think it can happen? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with both of you. So I do totally agree with you, Sean, that the grievance is really to bring awareness to what they think is happening, to bring more eyes to it, to make to increase the pressure on the referees to make those calls. And I think that's Sri. What I'm actually worried about is that part. So I don't think that the refs are going to kind of like overcompensate to seem more biased, but so they don't seem biased. But I actually think they may make more calls as a result of feeling like there's a lot of pressure, there is a lot of scrutiny around the calls that they're missing potentially. And it's interesting because I'm not sure if refs would prefer to be seen as missing calls or making calls that aren't happening. I almost feel like it feels worse from a referee perspective to feel like you're missing calls that are happening, but not that you're making calls that aren't happening. So they seem to me to lean more towards making calls in a lot of cases. We've seen that tail back a little bit towards the end of the season, but this is a Joel Embiid team. They are going home to Philadelphia. They are coming off of this, last 2-minute report situation. All of those factors considered, the Knicks are up 2-0. All of those factors considered, I would probably go into the third game assuming there's going to be a referee edge for the Sixers. To your point, Mensa, I don't think it's going to decide the game, but I do think if I had to guess, I would say there's going to be a referee edge for the Sixers.
Well said. Thank you, Sri, for your contribution. Next question is from Catch23. Catch23 says, this is simple, but I was wondering if y'all noticed that the 76ers are forcing JB right. I rewatched the 60 ball against the Spurs, and JB goes left on every bucket. Can Tibbs do anything about this? Well, Jalen is a lefty, so there's that. And honestly, JB's probably finding it harder to go left because of the length of the wing defenders that are guarding him. There may be something, and I'd have to look at the tape. Maybe Benji or DJ. Maybe they've already clipped it and I missed it, but maybe the way the Sixers defense is set up, that there's nothing to the left. So he's probably trying to go. So he's kind of like, all right, I will go right. So I don't know what Tibbs can do about it. I think it comes down to what, I mean, Jalen Brunson said, I just got to be better and hit shots. And while I think there are certain things he can do, like not have Josh Hart one pass away, at the same time, you have to give credit to the Sixers defensive game plan, as we spoke about earlier, and they're doing a hell of a job. And they wouldn't necessarily want to change anything.
I haven't quite noticed that, so that's a really good catch by Mr. Catch 23, or Mrs. Catch 23. I don't want to assume gender here. Person Catch 23 is what we will say. Can Tibbs do anything about it? I don't think there's anything Tibbs can do other than change the personnel around him and make it so that Philly can get burnt for the amount of attention that they're paying to Jalen Brunson when he touches a basketball. As far as his going right, yeah, I think it's a lot of like what Sean is saying, that it won the Sixers defensive game plan with Nick Nurse, I think, is about as flawless as I've ever seen anybody like game plan for Jalen Brunson. So they're probably forcing him to his offhand, and then they're condensing the court because of the personnel the Knicks are playing out there, and we've been able to overcome it. So I just have a very hard time believing that the Knicks are not going to be able to figure out how to get Jalen Brunson going. I think that, especially in a city where he won a championship, Philadelphia, Jalen Brunson will figure it out. So I'm expecting that ball to go in the basket. It's Philly's is a familiar place for Brunson, just as New York is, and I think he just needs to let the game come to him, because when you're as dominant at basketball as Jalen Brunson is, there's only so much for so long that you can do with a player like that. I remember back when Raja Bell was the Kobe stopper, and then Kobe uniformly and unceremoniously lit his ass up. So at some point, that game is coming. It is coming down the pipe, and it's a shame on Philly's side that they wasted 2 opportunities to win basketball games when Jalen Brunson had about as poor an effort production-wise as you'd see from him. So, if Tibbs can do anything about it, it's play more Deuce, play more DiVincenzo, play more Anunoby around Brunson, and give Josh Hart a water break, and maybe allow him to, text his wife or go on FaceTime with his wife while the game is going on. But let Josh Hart, get a little – give that man some rest, and then maybe you might – and what we'll see, if we see it, will be what we would be able to see in the non-Hart Brunson minutes would probably show us a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't have a ton to add. I do agree with that. I also think it would benefit Josh Hart to have some rest, like for himself, like for his own play. Like he's played extremely well. I think he can play better, especially defensively, if he has some time to get a breather. I mean, obviously NBA players play better when they get rest, and that's why they don't all just play the 48 minutes. So I think that would be beneficial to the Knicks overall, not just for Brunson, but for Josh Hart as well and for the team. And I think I have noticed some of this forcing Brunson right to some extent, but I mostly think they're forcing Brunson to where the help is. So typically, if Josh Hart is on the right side of the court, that's where the help's coming from. That's the side they want to send him to. So the Knicks could plant Hart on the left side of the court. And so, the Sixers wouldn't want to force Brunson to the right, because that would be away from the help. And that would be to a side where OG Anunoby is spotted up, or Dante DiVincenzo is spotted up. So I could imagine a formulation where you have Josh Hart on the left side, have the 2 wing shooters on the right side, OG and DiVincenzo, and then run stuff with Hartenstein. So you kind of overload the left side and make them force him that way. And maybe Brunson can make more shots going that way. But at the same time, there's only so much you can do. Brunson's going to have to make tough shots, and that's just where the series is at. That's what we're going to see moving forward.
Thanks, Catch 23. Next super chat is for XJ.
Thank you, Mark Fabros. Appreciate the contribution. Thank you so much. Preach XJ regarding the L2M report. There's literally no difference between a bad call in the last 2 minutes and a bad call in the first 46. 100%. I think this is like my biggest grievance, almost like with general kind of fandom, is that there's such a heightened focus on things that happened in the last 2 minutes and in the fourth quarter. Like those points are more valuable. Like 2 points at the end of the game is this worth the same as 2 points in the first quarter. If you miss a layup in the first quarter, that's going to come back to haunt you. Like it will, just the same way if you miss one at the end of the game. So to me, there's just so much focus on like, oh, you missed a call here at the end. Let's do a L2M report for 48 minutes, and then we'll average it out. We'll see who got more calls and who didn't, right? Like no one wants to do that. It's like, let's just look at the last 180 seconds, and then we'll talk about that and continually dice and analyze that. But nobody's analyzing the whole game. How many calls were missed throughout the game? What if we look back and they did a last 48-minute report, and it's like, the Knicks actually were a net negative in terms of the calls that they received or didn't receive? Then what would the conversation be? The conversation would be, yeah, I guess, luckily the Knicks got those calls, or else they would have lost a game that they should deserve to win. So who knows? Like, if you're not going to do a full thorough analysis, like chill out with that. Like, I just don't think it's useful. So I love this comment. I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, 2 points are 2 points, no matter if they're in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Honestly, the NBA should get rid of the last 2 minutes report. It brings no value whatsoever besides getting fans more pissed off than they already are. It's like, yeah, we screwed up. See you on Friday night. So, like, just get rid of it.
Yeah, all the last 2 minute report does is make referees look worse, and you should be protecting the image of your referees because they fly commercial like everybody else, and not to say that, anybody would do anything, but these guys are publicly visible, and to publish a report that makes them look bad or vindicates them never really vindicates them, because like as a Knicks fan, we've seen last 2 minute reports that we just flat out disagreed with and we're even more angry. So all you're doing with the last 2 minute report is pissing people off, and you don't really want that. So I agree. The last 2 minute report should go away 100%.
I just want to say real quick. So I think the reason it exists is because they want to show that they're being transparent. So like they're not hiding, oh, LeBron did get fouled, we're not going to say anything, we're going to keep quiet about it. Like they want to be like, yeah, it's right, we messed up. And I don't know if it's worth doing that, but I know that's like why they're doing it.
Yeah,
probably not worth it.
I
pretty dumb if you ask me.
I agree with the transparency, but like it's just not like. Meanwhile, when it comes to injury reports, people can just be like, "Oh, yeah, we forgot to put this guy on injury report. He's playing tonight," and nothing changes. Whatever. So, all right, thank you, Mark. All right, next one is for Mensa.
All right, Hayden Freed, my guy. My friends, we play in the player with the highest free throw attempt rate per minute basis in history, and the talk is the whistle for us. LOL. Man, oh man, I could talk for days. They give Embiid the whistle like he's Trae Young. I watched Embiid take like a leaning floater. I think it was like I think actually called like the flying Harden or something like that.
Yeah, it was. Harden does the rip through.
Yeah,
he extends the ball and rips through. Embiid did it and jumped with it. It was insane. It was like I've never seen that before.
Yeah, Joel Embiid is like a foul baiter's foul baiter. It's unbelievable the way that he plays the game and the whistle that he gets, and that's kind of what makes him unstoppable. Other than the fact that he has otherworldly talent, it's the whistle that he gets on top of everything else. It doesn't quite help. I think that if Embiid was healthy, he'd probably have like 24 free throws a game against the Knicks. The way he's been, the way he just like has it mastered. So I mean, look, Philadelphia fans and Nick Nurse, they can complain about the refs all they want. My only advice is 2 words: Cope harder, because I don't care. Cope harder, my friends.
A wise person once said, when one is used to preferential treatment, equal treatment seems unfair. That's all I'll say.
Joel Embiid is getting 17 free throw attempts per 100 possessions, which leads the league by a long shot. Second is Giannis, 14.6. So Joel Embiid is getting an entire 2.4 free throw attempts more than Giannis Antetokounmpo. After that is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 12.2. He's getting 5 free throw attempts per 100 more than SGA, who we know is one of the most relentless paint attackers that we've ever seen. You're on point, Hayden. There's not much to add to that.
Thank you, Hayden. Next up, this is from Sam Garcia. Thank you for your contribution. And it says 4 stars in Philly. And somehow I don't think he's giving the city of Philly 4 stars. I think that is for an expletive. As a former resident of the city of Philadelphia, my son went to kindergarten there. The city of Philadelphia will always have a special place in my heart. However,
we're getting the Sean loves Philly.
However, for the next 2 weeks, I don't know if I can do this. Hopefully there's no children watching. All right. So there you go. And for those who are listening on the podcast, I pointed one finger in the air between my ring and my index finger. So there you go.
Yeah, I just want to say that I am not listening to Freeway, Beanie Siegel, Meek Mill. I'm not watching the Gilly the Kid podcast. Like anything that got to do with Philly right now. Not rocking with them at all. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Sam. 4 stars Philly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like Sean. I did not enjoy Philly. Had a lot of negative personal life experience in Philly to go along with the fact that I didn't enjoy living in the city. So definitely 4 stars Philly. Agree with that. And I will be happy. I will be so happy if they beat them at Wells Fargo in game 3. I might just be ridiculous on Twitter or anywhere or on a podcast, or I don't know where you might find me. Maybe I'll go to Philly and just talk crazy. But totally on the same page with you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam, for the contribution. All right. This next question is directed towards Mensa. So, Mensa, I'll let you read it.
All right.
From
Eric Fernandez. Are you guys nervous? Please, Mensa. I need some words of encouragement for the next 2 games. All right. So, here are your words of encouragement. The New York Knicks lost the first 2 games of this series with Jalen Brunson playing like dog shit. Jalen Brunson, as we know, is certified not dog shit and will not continue to be dog shit. So if Philadelphia takes God out of their thoughts and allows Jalen Brunson to get it going, they're cooked. We're sweeping them. Get the brooms out. They are a team that has been defeated emotionally, and they are a team where the Knicks have literally snatched victory from their hands multiple times in the past 2 games. So while Philadelphia may have Joel Embiid, who is on one knee, and on one knee might still be the second best center in basketball behind Nikola Jokic. And if he had 2 knees, he would still be the second best center in basketball behind Nikola Jokic. Maxey is outplaying Brunson. All that is cool. It does not matter because this New York Knicks team has grit. They do not quit, and they are close-knit. The New York Knicks are a team that is going to continue to get punched in the mouth and punch you back even harder. I remember when Dan Campbell, when he had his press conference and he was talking all kinds of craziness about how, if we get bit if you bite us, we're going to bite you back. And it was wild. That's the New York Knicks though. The New York Knicks have that dog mentality. And I really don't like using that word because it's become like pop culture to be, to have that dog in you, but the Knicks truly have that dog in them. And Fred Katz, he pointed out on the podcast that he just did with John Macri of the Knicks Film School Podcast. If you haven't checked it out, please go check that most recent episode out. It's excellent. He was talking about how when Hartenstein gets the ball, he passes it to the corner because that's what the Knicks are drilling. The Knicks are relentlessly drilling. Get a rebound, look for the corner, look to the corner. This team is so immensely prepared for the moment. We didn't just lose. We didn't just win 1 game. We won 2 games without our best player playing well. And we also won those same 2 games without Julius Randle. So Julius Randle isn't going to come back. We know that. But Jalen Brunson is going to figure it out. And when he figures it out, Lord have mercy on the state of Pennsylvania because you will be in Cancun very soon. We're going to turn the 76ers to the 86ers. If you work in a restaurant, you know what that means. The Sixers are cooked. We're done. We're done with the 76ers this series. They don't want it. You can tell when you watch them. Maxey has listen, I appreciate the professionalism and everything. And, he's all coulda, woulda, shoulda in the post games, but coulda, woulda, shoulda in the post game is because you didn't. And because you can't, because the New York Knicks want it more. They will snatch the ball out of these guys' hands again and again and again. And when you look back at this series, the New York Knicks are going to win. And you know why? And another thing, we know Knicks fans, if you go on Knicks Twitter, Knicks fans are doing meetups for game 3 and game 4. So we're going to be in the building. We are going to terrorize those boys in their own building. And Knicks fans, if you buy the Knicks ticket and you're going to watch a game at the Garden, those tickets are so much more expensive than the ones that are going to be in Philadelphia. So if you pay the same amount of money, we're going to be close and we're going to be really annoying. So I'm not worried about Philly, never have been worried about Philly, never will be worried about Philly. What the hell have the Philadelphia 76ers done to earn our worry? They have Joel Embiid, but don't worry about these guys, man. They've choked forever. They continue to choke. And I got to say right now, the process ends with the New York Knicks, a team that doesn't have anybody in the rotation who was drafted in the lottery. Julius Randle is our lottery pick. He was picked 7th overall, not playing. Jalen Brunson, 31st overall pick. Josh Hart, 30th overall pick. Isaiah Hartenstein, 2nd rounder. Mitchell Robinson, 2nd rounder. Deuce McBride, 2nd rounder. Dante DiVincenzo, 17th overall. OG Anunoby, I think, was taken in the 20s. These guys are where they are because they worked for it, and they will continue to work for it, and they will continue to make you proud. So do not worry about the Knicks. You can be nervous all you want, but I can guarantee you everybody in blue and orange ain't nervous at all. They're ready to go. So I hope that was your encouragement. But yeah, I'm not worried about these guys because these guys ain't worried about these guys.
No notes. I got nothing to add. Mensa said it.
Nothing. Same here. But this is a perfect segue because this question came into the chat and it's from Genandios Casotis. Hopefully, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. It says, so I'm going to the game tomorrow. I know how Philly fans can be. Is it safe to wear a Knicks jersey outside of the Wells Fargo Arena? Genadios, I have been to the Wells Fargo Center not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. I was Nick jerseyed the F out. This ain't the Eagles game. This ain't the vet. You'll be fine. You know why? Because there will be 1,000 to 2,000 of your closest Knicks fan friends with you that day. So yeah, they may run their mouth a little bit. They may say some stuff, but you will be perfectly fine. Go.
Genadios, so not only this is not legal advice, so I just want to be clear because I don't want to be liable for anything. But I say you rock all your Knicks gear, and when the Knicks win, you just start breaking out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sixers, 10, 9, 8, 76ers. You just stunt on them with that. That song's kind of fire, actually. I'm not gonna lie, I actually love it. That's the best song. That's the best thing about Philly. That song is fire. But you just completely just act a fool, complete ridiculous. And like Sean said, you're gonna have 2,000, honestly, 5,000 of your closest friends are gonna be there rocking Knicks gear. So I wouldn't worry about it, but at the same time, this is not legal advice. So if anything happens to you, I'm sorry.
Listen,
I just need a disclaimer there because
look, as the resident respecter of Detroit, I would say have respect for Philadelphia as well. But at the end of the day, bro, it's a family event. It's entertainment. Go out there and be entertained. Don't worry about that. And enjoy, especially if you are paying money for a product, enjoy the product. That's all I tell you to do. Use wisdom everywhere you go. But bro, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be fine. Enjoy yourself, as Dave Chappelle, as Rick James once said. Enjoy yourself.
This video is from a regular season Knicks Sixers game at Wells Fargo.
Yeah, I'm sure the Knicks won that game.
The Knicks won that game, and again, there was about 2,000 of us, and we lost our minds. Now, don't do anything stupid. And if you have to ask, it's stupid. So that's the only thing I will tell you. All right. We got it's 8:17 Eastern. We gotta get out of here. All right, let's fly through these. XJ, this is from Ben King Gervy. You can go ahead. Yes, I want you to read this one.
BKG, if we win tomorrow, we win game 53 on Robert Cross's birthday. Whoa.
It was written.
Whoa. How do we win plus avoid him being even more insufferable? Hashtag happy birthday, Robert. Unfortunately, maybe fortunately, there's no way to avoid that outcome. I believe, I think there's no scheming. Nick Nurse couldn't figure out a way to stop that from happening. But at the same time, it's okay. We'll take it. We will gladly take hashtag 53 wins on hashtag happy birthday, Robert Cross's birthday. I'm super down to see it. So hopefully it happens. I'm down to have an insufferable Robert Cross. And it's well worth the trade.
Rob, we will get blocked together. we will terrorize the citizens of Philadelphia together if we win if we get our 53rd win on your birthday and go up 3-0 against the Philadelphia 76ers. Oh my goodness. Man, but now it feels like it's gonna happen. Now, I don't care about any analytical reason, any schematic, nothing. 53 wins on Robert Cross's birthday. Yes, it's gonna happen, guys. 3-0. Take it to the no. This is not betting advice, but take it to the books.
Speaking of terrorizing people, I have made a bet with one Clint Coley. He's a comedian from Philadelphia. He actually hosts the World Series of Spades. Shout out to him. I have a bet with him that the loser has to wear the jersey of the other team and read a statement prepared by the person who rooted for the winning team. So I feel good right now. The statement that I will write for Clint if we win will be tastefully done and casually obnoxious. All right. Next super chat is from Bobito. I wonder if it's the real Bobito, stretching Bobito. That would be crazy. Since we're talking about crying foul call, can someone explain to me how that Devo foul call got reversed after Larry hacks him? Well, I don't know why, Bobito, because apparently the NBA is in the tank for the New York Knicks. I mean, look at all the championship banners we've raised the last 25 years. Look at all the conference finals we've made. Look at all the games that we won. We had no business winning. So I don't know. Maybe Adam Silver forgot to push the big red button. I don't know. Look, man, the officiating is the word I'll use to be respectful is inconsistent. That's why that happened.
Yeah, I just think that's a great point, Babito, because it literally this is exactly the point. You could look back at so many plays that could have gone either way, that went the wrong way. This one was reviewed and to me seemed like a clear foul. I was shocked that was overturned, and that's a great point. I just don't know any way to kind of analyze refereeing like that unless it's something that's overtly happening. Stuff that we've seen, overarching trends, where we see Jalen Brunson kind of attack the rim relentlessly and not get foul calls on a consistent basis, seeing some of his driving numbers relative to his free throw attempt numbers, relative to what you see across the league. Unless you see overarching trends like that are just consistent across time, I don't think you could just go and nitpick about refereeing one call at the end or one or two calls at the end of the game. It's just silly. And this is a great point to kind of demonstrate and illustrate why that's the case. So yeah, good point.
To quote the great Jesus, a hidden talent of being a Knicks fan is people get upset when you have happiness and you're able to get even more joy from that, right? So they're going to cry. They're going to continue to cry, and the national media will join them. And look, for as far as we know, Joel Embiid's going to be on The View tomorrow complaining about these foul control. It's going to go, they're going to go worldwide with it. The same way TNT sat down with Tyrese Maxey after he won Most Improved and, sat him down and comforted him and asked him all kind of coddling questions. Continue to get joy from it, bro, because we're going to do this to them. and then whoever wins, Milwaukee and Indiana. And boy, do I hope Indiana wins that series. You have no idea how like this, like for real. I'm fingers crossed, hoping that Indiana wins. Of course, we got to beat the Sixers first, but boy, if we get the Pacers next round, like people are going to continue to cry because we are New York and they are not. So yeah, the foul call on Devo that got reversed was complete nonsense. But we're used to it. It just seems like nobody else is used to the refs jobbing us. So they just got to get used to, what everybody else is used to, especially in New York, and they can continue to cry about it. But like I said, 2 words, baby: cope harder. Thanks for the question, Bobito.
Thank you, Bobito. All right, we have 4 questions left. 2 of them we kind of touched on, so I'll just go through them very quickly. One is from John Leary. He says, hey, just joined now. So I don't know if you guys touched it on already. Any reason to be concerned? We are barely winning these games. I think this version of the 76ers team is pretty meh. The Sixers have a great defensive game plan. Brunson is not hitting the shots he normally hits. That's the difference. If Embiid were fully healthy, I understand why I think it's mad because Embiid's not fully healthy. But even on one leg, Embiid is scoring like 32 points a game because he's that damn good. So listen, if you win 4 games by 1 point, you advance. So, there you go. Thank you for your question, John. And the second one is from Sincere the Genius. Why didn't throw more lobs to Mitch? And B can't jump with him. We touched on this earlier. We don't have honestly, RJ and IQ, especially RJ, are our best lob throwers, and they're no longer on the team. So that has, that's something we miss. But here it is. All right. Last 2 questions. Okay, actually, we have a third question. But I will where did this go? Okay. Last 3 questions. And because I'm strategic, I will have Mensa answer this next one.
Sorry. Let's go, Knicks. Are we sweeping? I said Knicks in 5. I'm gonna stick with Knicks in 5. I think Philadelphia, I think they come out so emotionally charged tomorrow that they win a close one, and then game 4, Jalen Brunson figures it out and unleashes hellfire on them, and then we win games 4 and 5. But I think tomorrow they win, so it'll be a gentleman's sweep. I'm not sure it'll be the aggressive, we don't love them hoes 4-0 sweep.
All right.
Yeah, I was just gonna say real quick. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a sweep. I mean, if they win game 3, it'll be a sweep. But I don't think it'll be a sweep. I still see the series going 6 games at least. I think, again, the stuff that Nick Nurse has done, I think has been pretty effective, and I can see the regression happening. I can see a little bit of that stuff catching up in game 3 and 4 on the road, and so. I just I can't possibly see a sweep for me for this series. Obviously, I hope it happens. If they win game 3, yeah, I'm jumping out the window with everybody. It's going to be a sweep, but not at this point.
All right. Next question I will throw to XJ.
Philip Spatola, what's going on? What's more realistic for the rest of the series? 1, Josh Hart continues to hit threes at this rate, or 2, the rotation expands. This is a great question. So Mensa holding up a 1. These are both 2 things that are very unlikely to happen. I think I'm gonna have to say, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna have to say 2. Josh Hart shot 30% from 3 this year. I think it's easy to forget the fact that Josh Hart during the regular season makes 3 of every 10 threes that he shoots. He's literally in the 19th percentile in 3-point shooting this season. Like 34% shooter throughout his entire career. I don't, if he continues to hit threes at this rate across the rest of the series, this will be one of the most statistically improbable things that we've almost ever seen in a playoff series. Like so I just can't imagine that happens. I imagine we'll see some regression coming up pretty soon, and I think Tibbs is going to be open to expanding things with the rotation. So I'm going to go 2, but probably not by a lot. What do you guys think?
This can happen, and I give you 2 reasons why. Caleb Martin. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I think DJ had the stat, DJ Zulo. He had the stat that Josh Hart was shooting like 39% on wide open threes. And that's Nick Nurse's game plan. Let Josh Hart shoot wide open threes. So if you're going to continue to give it to him, he'll take them at that 39% clip that he's been hitting them at. So I do like to think that where we are in 3-point, like where 3-point shooting has gone, I don't think it is now informative for us to just look at raw 3-point shooting percentage. I think you have to consider like situations and you have to consider zones on the court. Like OG Anunoby is a great corner 3-point shooter. He's not a great 3-point shooter anywhere else, right? And because of how important 3-point shooting has become and where the game has gone, we do have to look at it a little bit deeper than raw 3-point shooting percentage. So I think what's important is that 39% wide open threes for Josh Hart, and those are the ones you're going to get. So if you're going to keep letting a guy who shoots 39% from three in that very specific situation shoot those threes, those very specific threes, then yeah, you're going to continue to get burnt. So and then I know my coach, Tom Thibodeau.
Go ahead.
He's not expanding that rotation, guys. No, that's not happening. It will shrink. It will not expand.
I just want to say, I think so. I'm not sure, but I'm guessing. I'm imagining DJ's stat was about Josh Hart's career, because this year on wide open threes, Josh Hart shoots 32%.
Oh damn! Yeah. Well, by his career, I'll take that. That number makes me feel a lot better.
He shoots 32% on wide open threes this year and 33% on catch and shoot threes this year. So it's not good from anywhere at any point with any coverage this year. So just saying this, he's played 80. He played 81 games this year. So that's a year's worth of sample. But we'll see.
Thank you, Philip. And last but not, actually, and the question before that was from Parvej Kumar. Parvej, thank you for the question. Last question of the night. Busy. Damn, Melton don't have hair. Welcome to the ball club, brother.
Yes, sir. So I turned 30 on the 15th, and I was like, I'm just gonna go on to 30 with a clean head. And I kind of like it. I do. Yeah. So I'm. Thank you for welcoming me to the ball club, because Sage of the Knicks Path just told me that, oh no, I'm ball club. I'm cool with ball club, but apparently for hashtag bald gang, I have to bang my head into a wall, and I'm not gonna do that. So yes, bald club, bald book club, bald happy hour attenders, bald appreciators of Knicks basketball. I will be a part of all those things, but sorry guys, in a hashtag bald gang, I'm not quite that extreme. So thank you for welcoming me home, Busy.
I got one for you, Mentor. The Bald Brotherhood. That's the one.
Bald Brotherhood. I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right. So thank you everyone who pulled up. We appreciate you. Before we get out of here, Andrew told me I gotta plug two things. One of them is our merchandise. So as you can see, if you're watching, Mensa is wearing a Why Not Now shirt from a Why Not Now shirt. This is our annual, it's becoming our annual playoff shirt. We here, we back, and why not now? So please go check out the Knicks Film School store. I am trying to find the banner that could show what it is, but I can't. I'm not a producer. Leave me alone. So that's number one. And number two, we are hosting a watch. Oh, here. Okay, here it is. We are hosting a watch party at T Squared Social on Friday. Excuse me, on what day?
Sunday, April 28th.
Sunday, April 28th. It's absolutely hilarious that I'm struggling with that date, because that is my birthday, and you would think I would have known what day of the week my birthday is. So I will be there. Andrew will be there. Original Alex, I heard, will be in the building. Pull up, buy me a beer. Actually, you don't have to buy me a beer, but it's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a great time. I will be there. And I will be in a good mood, because that is the same day as the North London Derby with Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal. And if Tottenham loses to Arsenal, Tottenham losing to Arsenal is like how do I say this? Is like if the Ravens lost to the Steelers, but they lost to them. They played 3 days in a row and lost to them all 3 days. That's how distraught I will be. But that's not going to happen. Come on, you Spurs. All right. So, and by the way, if you want this T-shirt, get this T-shirt. This is the call of the this is the call, Mike Breen's call of the play where Devo hit the 3 in game 2. That's available at knicksfilmschool.com. So check that out. And that's all we got. So any final words before we get out of here from either of you?
I would just want to plug again the watch party. You know, I was happily ended up in New York last week. Got to hang out with these two gentlemen. It was awesome meeting with you both in person for sure. And then going to the watch party a couple days later was super fun. T-Squared Social is an awesome spot. Got a roped off area to just watch the Knicks games with like crazy Knicks fanatics. It's such a blast watch. I would just really plug anybody who has the opportunity to get out there to go out there. So super fun. And yeah, that's all I want to say.
Yeah. Let's go Knicks. Listen, Sean said a lot that the Bojan Bogdanovic game is going to hit like crack. And we kind of got a taste of that. We got a sample of the crack. We didn't get the crack quite yet. Yeah. I just want to say that the Brunson redemption arc is loading in that game. If the Bojan Bogdanovic game is going to hit like crack, then, I mean, the Brunson redemption game is going to hit like heroin, bro. Like it's going to slap the Brunson redemption game. So let's go Knicks. I'm very excited to see this game. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing the playback. So if you are a patron or if you have access to playback, come hang out with us at Knicks Film School. And with this, the playback, shout out to my guy, Zach with an H. Did I get that right?
It's definitely with an H.
Yeah. All right, perfect. All right.
There's Zach with an H. You got it. And he's trying to avoid going to take a shower, but it's all right. We're getting out here anyway. Okay, right. So don't do that. All right. So for Zach of an H, Mensa, and XJ, I'm Sean for W. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Knicks Nation, let's ride. Let's go Knicks. Knicks in 5.